Welcome to Finish First Financially. Goran Radanovic. I'm going to quickly read up a post from Reddit and then I'll give my take on it, not financial investment advice. It says, motivation to live below my means. Hi all, how do you motivate yourself to forego things you can afford in order to live below your means? It's so hard to not just give in to every desire just because I have the money for it. This is actually a very good question because people usually ask, how do I lower my expenses? What should I focus on? But then once you've got the money for it, how do you keep that money? And this was one of the things that I definitely experienced. And the way I built up this motivation to live below my means is because I suffered financially. I had like a really bad period where I was in a financial rut and ended up homeless, had nothing, and I was in debt. While I was in that period, I said to myself, once I get out of this mess, I'm never going back. This is not the way I want to live. I want to have money. I want to be able to buy things with cash. I never want to have debt. So once I got out of debt, one of the things that really happened for me. So first of all, that was actually also kind of my motivational tool because I'd been through such a bad patch. But then once I'd paid off all of my debt, I no longer had 60 or 70% of my income going out to creditors. It stayed in my bank account. And as a result, my savings ballooned significantly. So I enjoyed that. And that was another reason that motivated me to live below my means, is because when I saw my net worth grow, when I saw my savings balloon exponentially, I wanted to grow it even more. So that motivated me to stay on that course and not live below my means. And also remember, once when I was going through this tough patch and I had now completely adjusted my lifestyle, I lowered all of my expenses, which essentially means lowering your standard of living. I'd gotten used to that standard. So that standard became the norm for me. So then once my income started increasing, I just stayed on that standard. I didn't feel the need to increase my spending as well. So the additional income always went into savings. And so it wasn't really a later on adjustment. It was just like my normal part of life. So there's also that as well. That's another motivational factor. And the big one that I think will be applicable to a lot of people, even if you haven't been through a drastic financial woes like I have. One of the things that happened to me when I was still in debt and I was trying to lower my expenses, I lived in my own apartment and I wanted to lower my rental expense. So I rented a room from an elderly couple. It was a 3-bedroom place. They were in the 1 bedroom, I was in the one, and then the 3rd bedroom was open. And when I lived with them, I saw their financial situation, and they were close to their mid-60s, so nearing retirement. And they had rented that place for the past 8 years. The gentleman had worked previously as a panel beater. I don't think the lady worked at all. And well, she eventually had to because he just decided that he wasn't going to work. So she did part-time jobs, but they really needed money and they had not built up any savings. They didn't even own their own place. They had been renting that for the past 8 years. So they were going into retirement, having no money, having really nothing to their name. Even the car that they owned, the lady inherited from her family. So when I saw that, I said, it was almost like I had a glimpse into the future. I saw what my future could be like if I lived like that, if I just spent all of my money. So learning from other people's mistakes and seeing it firsthand of what could happen to me if I didn't live below my means was another great motivational tool for me. So if you're not in that situation where you're experiencing a tremendous amount of financial pain, or you don't have first-hand experience, seeing it from your family, you could always read online the horror stories of people who are over the age of 65. They're in retirement and they're relying on social security, and they're relying on their children to support them because for the past 65 years, they weren't able to get their finances in order, and now they depended on somebody else. I think reading stories like that and just observing what's really going on around you will give you a glimpse into the future, and that should serve as motivation for you to continue living below your means. And I never saw it as living below my means. I saw it as living my normal life because I adjusted along the way. So those are really the key things that really served as motivational tools for me. And I think if you want to get a even more in-depth glimpse into my story and how I lost everything and all of the emotions that I went through, the psychological change that I went through, obviously the physical, because I needed to adjust my lifestyle, and how I came out on the other end being debt free and having significant savings, you can check out my book, From Homeless to Debtless with Savings. I'll put a link in the description below, and I wish you all the best.